quick video. This is a Benelli something or other moped, 125cc. Someone local pushed it to me and said you can have it for free. They said you won't get it running. 2 mechanics have already tried. So at this stage I hooked up the battery earlier to mine, turned it over and it wouldn't start, but the engine sounded okay, the compression sounded fine. So I have just cleaned the carb, fully cleaned the petrol tank, cleaned the fuel lines, completely cleaned it all properly, and I'm going for first startup in 1.5 years, I believe. I'm not sure, there could be electrical issues. I've just put the fresh fuel in. May need to put more fuel in. Oh, horn works. Ah, indicators work. I know the starter works, I tried it earlier. Let's see, give it a go. Oh, I just topped up the fuel a bit more and it fired immediately. The exhaust is absolutely horrible. It sounds terrible. Oh, the front lights are on. High beam. Wow.
The next day.
So this is a quick update on the Benelli Velvet I'm working on. The bike's up and running as you saw in the last video. I'm now working on beautifying it, basically painting the panels. Someone did a terrible job previously with a can of spray and they've ruined it basically, and I've now made it a bit more tolerable by painting it matte black, and some of it will be gloss black. I have noticed that it has no front brake. The master cylinder is broken. Obviously we still haven't got a front panel. I need to purchase that. I need to buy a new number plate, the old one broke. But this is the stage I'm at the moment. Here's some of the gloss black bits, just to make it a little bit more traditional and normal. But otherwise, currently it's a good running bike that needs a couple of bits bought and done, and then it will be back on the road. So to recap, this is a free bike that was given to me. I'm currently spraying the panels. There's the head panel. The rear one's done in matte black. It's not perfect, but it's not bad either. Got the front panel completely off. That's being done right now. One down there on the floor. Now these spraying techniques are not perfect. It will never look like it's been done in a shop, but the bike will look neater, although not perfect. But it's nice to play around with the spray paints and to see what you can achieve. I'll show you before and after photos at the end. So I've taken the top panel off now to look at the master cylinder, and it's definitely had it. So I'll order a new one. I've put the front panel back on, however, wet paint is extremely fragile. So I suggest you don't do that. I've had this off, sprayed and back on in 1.5 hours, but any tiny touch it gets, it will scratch. It needs roughly a week to set properly, especially if it's outside, which this one is at the moment. But you can see where it's gone from, which is that kind of spray job and that colour, to where it's going to, which is that colour and that colour. and I will continue to piece the bike back together. I'm sorry I can't show more of actually what I'm doing. I haven't got a camera holder yet, a stand. I haven't even got a decent camera yet. So soon I'll be hoping to do much better videos. So I've put the seat back on now. It actually locks down properly, which is good. That's needed for an MOT. And it's starting to look like a bike. I told you already, I literally don't have a front panel. I'm sourcing one now. They're not easy to find. Side panels are drying, but I'm going to throw them on in a minute anyway. Not bad. It's getting there slowly. I've just put the side panels back on. Now they're not perfect because I didn't prep them enough, but they are a shiny black. Just a bit of contrast from the matte black. The top panel up here will also be shiny black, and possibly the mudguard, but I'm not sure yet. And then I'll have to decide what colour I spray this panel when I finally get it. I can't put this panel back on yet because I need to get the new master cylinder, which, to be fair, will be here by next weekend. So this bike should be wrapped up. I had to climb under it, try and find the VIN numbers earlier just to check them out, but they're a bit worse for wear at the moment. So I'm trying to work out what to do with the logbook. I've got the green slip, which I can send off, and I will send off, but it takes a little while to get a new logbook, but that's fine. We'll continue working on it till one arrives. So the mudguard is held on by these 4 Allen screws. So that's the first coat on the mudguard. I'm coating in matte black for now, just to try and fill in some of the imperfections, and then I'm going to do a couple or a few gloss coats which will give it its shine. This coat's very thin. You should always do your first coat really thin and give it 5 to 10 minutes to sit. This is your tack coat. This is what helps it all stick. So this will do for now. It's been a good 10-15 minutes. Second coat. It's very windy actually. Second coat goes on slightly thicker, but it doesn't have to be fully covered. The third coat will fully cover it. And I know my technique's not perfect, or good at all actually, but again, this bike is a rough one. I've just pulled the bike out for a quick recap of what we've done. We've turned it from a really badly sprayed silver to a fairly badly sprayed black, but it's less obvious. I've used shiny black for that panel, shiny black for the front mudguard, and shiny black for the top panel, which will go there. I already cleaned the carb, changed the spark plug and serviced it, and got it running, so it's actually a good runner, although I've got the battery on charge currently, and I'm hoping it's not dead. Remember, this was a free bike. It was given to me by my neighbour. He used it for a few years and then left it sitting in his garden. I think I'm going to change the exhaust. I really don't like it, and it's really too loud. You can get an original for like £50. I also need a front master cylinder. They're about £15. Front panels about £50. So I'll be putting in roughly £100 and should have a fairly nice moped ready for sale.
The next day.
And on the old Benelli, which I'm working on, I've put the top panel back on recently. It looks really nice. And the front centre panel just turned up. It's here. Fits perfectly. It was the last one in the world that I could find. obviously it's not the right colour, so I'm going to be looking at painting that, I think gloss black actually, because normally it's the same colour as the side panels. It's actually normally silver no matter what colour bike you get, but that looks shocking. So I'm going to go gloss black with that front panel, and then that's very close to MOTing, and I'm going to sell it off cheaply to someone. So that's a quick update. I might show you some bits if I start working on them. I'll definitely show you some bits over the next couple of days about it. You clean and you scuff the panel using some sort of scotch pad like this one. The marks shouldn't be so deep that the paint won't fill them. This is literally about taking the shine off. Roughly 50% coverage. This should pretty much cover the whole thing. I'm going over my line halfway. And then any areas I'm not sure about, like down here, I'm just double checking. This is just a base coat at this stage. I'll be doing some wet coats next, although it's looking fairly good already, and see how that sits. Again, as I said in my last video, we shouldn't handle these panels when the paint's so wet. In fact, you can see little finger marks there, but that'll dry okay actually, and I can always patch it up. The battery goes under here. The battery's charging and actually is a good working battery. Ooh.
The next day.
So, I'm going to do a quick video why I'm here looking at my Benelli in regards to MOTs. So what will they be looking out for in MOTs? First thing, steering left to right. It's not notchy and it doesn't turn too far. It's the first thing they'll check. Suspension needs to bounce front and back and settle like normal. All the lights need to work. I've just sorted out the rear light. It's now on, and it will stay on with the brakes. Tyres need to be good. This rear tyre is practically brand new. Front tyre is fine. It's got plenty tread. It's not close at all, although I do believe it has a slow puncher. Suspension needs to have no leak marks, which it doesn't. Lights need to come on in front. They come on automatically when the engine's running. In fact, let's experience it. That's normal lights. High beam should come on. High beam, excellent. Brake levers should have the balls on the end. Brake levers shouldn't touch the handlebar. You need one mirror, the right one, or none. Indicators must work, they do on this. Now, I've got a number plate coming that's ordered, that should be here in a couple of days. And I'm going to put a new number plate light on. I've got a couple of LED ones. I prefer them, and I'll just wire them in using this too. You need a rear reflector somewhere. I normally just buy a little round one and put it on the number plates like I've got here, and that's about it. The rear seat has to lock closed. Now, lots of these seats get busted open, and if you find that your seat's busted open but you need an MOT, you can actually put a strap, just a bungee cord, over it, and that would pass the MOT, believe it or not. although this one locks normally. The horn, I've just noticed my horn doesn't work, so I need to replace that. The horn has to work as well for it to pass its MOT. So this is it. I believe this is actually finally finished. This is the bike as a whole. You can see the contrasting blacks. So we did the brakes, we changed the colour, we slightly raised the exhaust. That's done now. We did rear number plate, it came without one. Rear number plate light, bit of a pain this morning, but done. Rear light bulb cluster was a bit messed up, I had to use solder and get that fixed. Carb was cleaned, wiring was looked at, lots of soldering, lots of wiring done. I can't even think of what else. And we have a bike that I believe is now ready for MOT. I'll be taking it tomorrow, and we'll let everyone know how it goes. If it passes its MOT tomorrow, it will be for sale tomorrow for around £500.
The next day.
So, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching, all 8 of you. This bike's practically sold. I've had someone on the phone for a couple of days. They're very interested. They were actually going to buy it without an MOT. I convinced them to let me sort the MOT out, so there were no issues in the future. Now the bike's fairly clean, but I'm going to give it a quick clean over just to make sure the sale does go through, because that's the point. I really wanted to take it for a test drive with my new helmet cam, but I'm not quite set up for that yet. So hopefully on the next bike you'll get to see more rides once they're completed. So, in hindsight, I've got nothing to record. I sold the bike, it went for £500 with a year's MOT. Breakdown of the pricing was that I got the bike for free. I spent £120 on it altogether, and I sold it for exactly £500. Now when you're selling a second-hand bike, you have to tell the new owners everything. If anything's not quite right, you have to tell them. I gave them some tyre foam treatment in case the tyre bursts, and I gave them a new speedo cable because the speedo cable actually snapped not that long ago, and I did check it and it had snapped, which is quite, normal. It does happen. So I made sure the sale was complete properly. Now the other thing to tell people buying second-hand bikes is that you don't know how long that bike's going to last. You can hear the engine now, you know it's got oil, you know it sounds good, you know it's running, but it could break down 2 days later, and that wouldn't be the last person's fault. So I always make that clear, and I always encourage them to test drive for at least 20 minutes, and I always try and send them out twice. So they come back, they look over the bike again, they consider it, and then they go out again. So that concludes. I've made a reasonable profit, 380 quid, which is great, but the main thing here is a good bike that I really liked stays on the road. Thanks for watching.